Back, Truth Seeker. It's Wednesday, so that means tonight, Gematria Effect on Truth Frequency Radio. If you've never listened before, weekly radio program, 3 hours, begins at 6 p.m. on the West Coast, so 6 to 9 out where I live. If you're on the East Coast, it's 9 to 12. If you're in the middle of the country, you know your time zone. If you're in another country, do the math. I know you can figure it out. If you can't listen live, you can always listen for free after. It's free to listen to live. It's free to call in. Free to listen to 10 days after the show. Then after that, it goes in these archives where you have to be a paid-for member of Truth Frequency Radio. If you are a paid-for member of Truth Frequency Radio, you get to listen to all the archived episodes, which is thousands of radio programs. Lots of knowledge and information. A fraction of what a cable bill costs, and a lot more worthy in terms of the information you get. Anyhow, tonight's show will be going through the propaganda by the numbers, as we always do. It's a caller-friendly show. We always have a lot of brilliant callers. Be taking your calls all night. The phone lines will be up from the beginning. Some things that we'll talk about tonight. We'll get into this news today of the CIA releasing 470,000 files seized in the Abbottabad raid that killed Osama bin Laden. Remember, that raid was exactly 119 weeks after Barack Obama became president. Obama, Osama, 119, the way the majority of the world writes the date, September 11th. In the language of Gematria, Osama bin Laden equals 47 and 110. Buildings 1 and 2 were 110 stories. Building 7, which fell several hours later in the day, was 47 floors tall, each floor 47,000 square feet. If you can remember back then, the president, George W. Bush, used to call Osama the cave dweller. Cave dweller sums to 47 and 110. So does president, so it was a fitting nickname from the president. But there's more. That should say building. Lots of typos on my blog because I do these blog posts so quick. Abbottabad, though, equals 68, which is just perfect because it was 1968, 33 years before 2001, that World Trade Center construction began, 911 became the national emergency dialing code, and Bush graduated from Yale and Skull and Bones. Yale happens to equal 43. He'd become the 43rd president. Anyhow, Abbottabad 68, big number in regards to the World Trade Centers and the coding of 911. George W. Bush, his birthday is July 6th, which is the 187th day of the year. Remember, George Washington equals 187. George W. Bush. From his birthday to September 11th is a span of 68 days. And in the language of Gematria, terror equals 68, so does CIA. Bush's father used to be the head of the CIA before becoming the 43rd vice president, before becoming the 41st president. Skull and Bones equals 41. Bush and his father, members of Skull and Bones at Yale, just down the street from Sandy Hook, another false flag by the numbers. Remember how they said Adam Lanza weighed 112 pounds? He's also born on the 112th day of the year. Sandy Hook equals 112, 112, the alt dialing code for 911. So, CIA's releasing this. And if you listened to my radio show last week, you can still go to tfrlive.com. I'll link it down below. Listen to the first 5 minutes of last week's show. I talk about the history of CIA in 68 and where the term conspiracy theory came from. So how fitting the CIA releases this bogus information from this hoax of a story, From Abbottabad. Just never ends, Truth Seeker. It's all propaganda every day by the numbers, the same repetitive numbers. As I've explained many times, it was the number 47 used so often in the media that helped me find Gematria. This number is used more than any other. The word news equals 47. By the way, the CIA released this supposedly at the behest of Trump. President 47, White House 47, government 47, authority 47, agent 47, Trump 47. He was in the 47-story Midtown Hilton Hotel the night of the selection. How perfect. What's up with this thing November 4th? The government's planning a blackout drill. ANTIFA, which is your federal government, controlled opposition. They got a big protest going, refuse fascism. Refuse fascism equals 144, just like the United States of America equals 144, just like corporation equals 144. The definition of fascism is the merger of government with corporation, which is exactly what we have, and we're mocked about it. You know, ever since these wars on terror have begun, we've seen the headlines. Coca-Cola making $20 per can, sending soda to the troops. I mean, what? Just go back and look at your headlines for the last decades. This is the kind of stuff I was looking at years ago and telling people, look at what goes on. They declare a war on terrorism, which is completely bogus, on a fictional enemy, and now Coca-Cola is charging taxpayers $20 per can for their soda? You know, and it's not just Coca-Cola. All these companies are raking it in. You know? All the stories in the news ever since the war on terrorism, companies selling water to the troops, contaminated water, all this stuff's been in the news. You know? And it's all just meant to piss us off and mock us, and they just know. They know that we, the people, aren't going to do anything about it besides lace up our boots and go to work, you know, and pay our taxes like the good little slaves we are. So anyway, this whole Antifa thing, it's all controlled crap by the numbers. It always is. Resist fascism equals 52. This is beginning on a date with 52 numerology. Government and authorities also 52. Big number of Kabbalah, which is where this entire code comes from, of letters and numbers and dates. This story is just getting more ridiculous by the moment as they release the details. This Manhattan attacker with the Home Depot truck. Now he drove down West Houston Street. West Houston Street. I was already talking about how this was connected to the World Series. They had this dude in the Astros hat. Manhattan has gematria of 92 like Astros. Both also have gematria of 29. And look at this. GoFundMe yesterday. GoFundMe was raising $100,000 for this. This is what they continue to do. GoFundMe set up these fundraisers to fleece the public for the false flags so that they can pay for their next batch of crisis actors. And they had set it up 29 days before this happened. Manhattan equals 29 as well as 92, just like Astros. And they got the dude out there in the Astros hat who are from Houston. Now the attacker drove down Houston Street. This is all called mocking. And, you know, earlier this year I tried to set up a campaign to raise money to get a book tour, you know, fixed, dates rented. After the first day, GoFundMe froze the account. And they've done this to me in the past. The 2 times I've tried to use GoFundMe, they froze the charitable contributions within 24 to 48 hours. 2 for 2. It's because GoFundMe is part of this terror network. The real definition of terrorism, the original definition of terrorism, was government by intimidation. And all these private companies that aren't really private are truly your government, including GoFundMe. So I shouldn't have tried a second time to raise money on there. I just wanted to see if I'd be able to get through with it. And no, they froze it right away. You know? And now all these trolls say, oh, your campaign sucks. Hardly anyone donated. You see what I mean? It's just, they're paying for the trolls. They're freezing the GoFundMe account. It's just so pathetic. You know, you can just look at the comments on the GoFundMe. Everybody's saying, hey, I'm trying to donate money. It won't let me donate anything. Nobody's been able to donate anything since, you know, right after it started. And I haven't tried to set up another fundraiser. I mean, I'll figure out a way to make the book tour happen without anybody's funds. But 29 days, and then it comes out that the attacker's 29 years old, you know? It just never ends. They just keep contriving it as they go. Note claims NYC attack for ISIS. Oh, really? You know? He left a note that must have said, I did it for ISIS, Allahu Akbar. You know, it's just such a joke. They said he was heard yelling out Allahu Akbar. By the way, Note has the same gematria as baseball. Look at what his name is. Look at what this dude's name is. They always got to use the name. Well, here, before we get to the name, 19 clearly displayed on the truck. They're doing this in all the shots. I've been documenting this all year. They've been having these truck ramming events on the 19th of months on dates with 19 numerology. Now in this one, it's just so blatant. They put 19 right on it because in gematria, truck equals 19, just like chaos. Just like the 19 hijackers on 9/11. They use 19 all the time in their false flags. You know, then you got the orange Oompa Loompa. What do you say? Deranged person. I mean, how could you be more deranged than the orange Oompa Loompa? This is one of the sickest men there ever was. Now he's the face of the nation. It's just awful. By the way, Halloween 41, 10/31, 10 plus 31, 41. Terror 41, Al Qaeda 41, September 11th, 2001, a date with 41 numerology. USA equals 41, the 13th prime, 13 stripes, 13 stars, 13 colonies. Sports Illustrated published this today. I've been talking about their cover from 2014. Today, it's interesting how they wrote this article. They wrote it like almost like the game should have ended yesterday, but now they're saying, well, it'll go today, we'll still be right. You know, they're saying that their magazine cover from 2014 is correct, where they said that the Astros will win the World Series in 2017. And I've been saying that that magazine came out on June 25th, George Orwell's birthday, and a lot of people have been saying, no, that's not true, Zach. It came out on June 30th. Well, the article clearly states that the magazine cover came out the Wednesday before the publishing date on the magazine, which was June 30th. So the date on the magazine is June 30th, but the magazine came out Wednesday, June 25th, which is George Orwell's birthday. And on the cover is number 4, Springer for the Astros. And like I just documented, in Game 4, Springer, off the 84th pitch, hit the home run. This is George Orwell's birthday that the magazine came out, who wrote 1984, who has the quote about sports, beer, and gambling controlling the people. United States of America equals 84. So wait until you guys read my book about the history of world wars in 84. Don't forget that Masonry and Jesuit equals 84. Every war that's been fought in the history books has been by the numbers, meaning it was started on a specific date and ended on a specific date, proving that these are all New World Order operations that are about population control, banker tyrants making money, and most importantly, that all of it is needless. Every war that has been fought in the history books has been needless. It's been for the tyrant's agenda. No war has ever made us freer. All of them have enslaved us more to banker, tyrants, debt, police states, everything that we know and live. As for the magazine date, I've been talking about this, the publishing date of June 30th, date with a life lesson number 46, Houston, Texas equals 46, flooding 46. We'll see what happens tonight, Sports Illustrated very confident the Astros are going to win. And with regards to the final game being on November 1st, 11-1, New York equals 111. The Dodgers advanced to the World Series, beating the Cubs 11-1. Here we are on November 1st. Let's not forget that the Astros, after the flooding of Harvey, their first game was 52 days before the start of the World Series with Matt Harvey from New York on the mound in Houston. And he plays for New York, some New York riddle going on here. And then we get the New York Falls flag down Houston Street with the dude with the Houston Astros hat on. You see how this all comes together? So we'll see who wins, I thought that they'd close it out with Verlander. And before the series began, I said I expect this to end in Game 5 or Game 7. Then when I saw Verlander on the mound, Game 6, the way it all lined up, I thought it made a lot of sense for Verlander to close it out. Still surprised that didn't happen. We'll see what happens tonight. LA burned. Houston flooded. Water puts out fires. In terms of the elements, water is considered more powerful than fire. So we'll see. Today, November 1st, it's the 305th day of the year, leaving 60 days remaining. Jack Roosevelt Robinson equals 305. The World Series began on his anniversary of his death, the 45-year anniversary of his death. Major League equals 45. His name also has gematria of 91, the 13th triangular, huge number in this series. Dodgers won the first game 1-3. LA equals 13. They won yesterday 1-3. I predicted that'd be the final score. I just thought it would go in favor of Houston. And they also won 1 of 3 in Houston. The thing is, Houston and LA both equal 41, which is the 13th prime. So we'll see how this goes tonight, We'll see how this goes. I've been saying Houston would beat LA. Could be wrong. I was wrong last night. I thought they'd close out last night. We'll see what happens now. With regards to 60 days being left in the year, the most hateful word for black people has gematria of 42 and 60. The name Jackie also equals 42. He wore 42. Think about it. Think about it. 45-year anniversary of his death. Died in Connecticut, where New Haven is, where Yale Skull and Bones is. One more time. Last night, Game 6, 113th World Series. The Los Angeles Lakers won with 113. They beat Detroit, where Verlander was from, where he played 13 seasons. Justin equals 93. He had 93 pitches last night, Verlander, who played his whole career with Detroit before just moving to the Astros. You see this? 93 pitches. Detroit gets beat in L.A. 113-93. Tonight, Houston is in New York City for Game 7 of the World Series. In the NBA, Houston's playing in New York. The doubleheader on ESPN tonight for basketball is Houston and New York, and then you have LA in Texas. You see? We have an LA-Texas World Series, and both of those games are on ESPN tonight. Just showing you how it's all scripted. It's undeniable. It's undeniable. Sometimes you'll pick wrong knowing the script. But, I mean, you guys see me. I mean, my pick record is pretty high percentage of correct picks. I don't get a lot wrong. The trolls are going crazy because my pick didn't pan out last night. Look how many trolls are active and around just waiting to troll. You know, they've had to wait for a long time for me to be wrong about something. Now they're just going crazy. Million troll comments. It's pathetic. These people are pathetic. They're not fooling anyone, though. Also tonight, something I'm looking at, Yu Darvish. It's 77 days from his birthday. Game 7, 77 days. One of the big storylines in the World Series is the Cuban player who joined the Astros at the end of last year. He did a racist thing. You know, he pulled his eyes sideways. You know, made his eyes slanted. He's getting suspended 5 games next year. We have an Asian pitcher tonight. We have an Asian manager for the Dodgers. It's interesting that it's 77 days because Houston also has gematria of 77. Yu Darvish equals 46. The name Yu alone is 46. That World Series cover for the Astros winning has 46 numerology. I'm asking, does this mean the Astros have Yu Darvish's number, or does Yu Darvish have Houston's number tonight? We'll find out. We'll find out. The pitcher for the Astros, named gematria of 101. The Astros won 101 games this year. They won their 101st game on October 1st, 10/1. The last time they were in the World Series was the 101st World Series. If they get their win tonight, it'll be their 112th win of the season. Houston equals 112. Today will be a span of 112 days to Verlander's birthday. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. His name also equals 61, the 18th prime, baseball 18. We'll see what happens. His birthday is October 2nd, 10/2. Magic guaranteed the Dodgers would win the World Series. He did that 97 days ago. That's the 25th prime number. 7 equals 25. Fire equals 25. Flood equals 25. You know, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. Sports Illustrated is saying their pick is correct. The Astros will win. So we'll find out. But we'll talk about all this and more tonight on the show. Gematria Effect, the link to listen live's down below. 6 to 9 on the West Coast, 9 to 12 on the East Coast. Check your time zone if you're somewhere else. Again, it's free to listen to. Links down below. Till next time, True Seekers.